Hey, a few years ago I met a senior VP engineering that told me that in his startup he had one of the best engineering teams that he met. They had the perfect CI/CD settings, a full testing coverage, amazing infrastructure for their production automation scaling. The team was running according to engineering best practices. The engineers were top notch. For him, that was the best team ever. And I was thinking, really? Is it really the best engineering team ever if the company fails and the startup closed? For me, this is the obvious case of the operation was successful but the patient died. How can you claim that you had the best team while the company failed? This is a clear case when the VP engineering is not connected to the business and measure the team's quality by engineering best practices metrics only. And it also happened to me once. When I worked in AppsFire, we had a dashboard that all our customers use. This dashboard was the core of the product back then and was built as one of the system's first components. As it happened many times for startups, and rightfully so, the system wasn't scalable and was unable to support the growing scales of our customers and their traffic. As soon as we realized that this is the case, we started to map the system's issues and initiated a project to find an alternative architecture and data infrastructure to support the growing scale and product requirement. It was a very well-defined project with well-defined steps and follow all the engineering best practices of how to redesign your system, including performance testing and POC. The only thing was that by the time we were working on our best practices, customers reached to a new traffic peak, and we got to an unfortunate situation when our largest customers and highest paying one couldn't open their dashboard and look for their results. This was my lightning bolt moment. You can't focus solely on engineering best practices on engineering teams. Hi, my name is Shachman-Shavit. I'm in the industry for a long time. I managed the engineering teams in AppsFire, Lemonade, Clerex, and Transsuite Security. I was also responsible for a senior engineering managers forum in Baot and co-founded the Leap Academy, which is a place for engineering executives to come and learn how to better work with the business and do their job. I'm very happy to take part of this conference and talk to you about a topic that I'm very passionate about, seeing the bigger picture as engineers to promote your career. Because to be really excellent in engineering best practices is not enough if you like to grow your engineering career. Let's deep dive into some examples to see why in some cases it is possible that your team did everything right while it actually didn't provide the right value for the company. The first example would be one of the most known in engineering best practices, 100% automation test coverage. This principle means that every single line of code will be covered by an automatic test. You can easily measure it, and it is often used with companies to make sure that their team follow this principle. These tests will be run when you add a new code to make sure that it doesn't break an existing functionality, when you upload things in production, and more and more. So it is a good engineering best practices that we should always use, right? I probably have an amazing engineering team if we have 100% test coverage, right? Depend. It really depends. Maybe we are working on a product that just got to its demo phase and we don't have clarity on what will be accepted by our customers. In this case, writing 100% test coverage might be a waste of time, or worse, it might mean that we'll be late to production and to our customers. On the other hand, if this is a product that sells for $100 million a year for enterprise customers, quality is probably extremely important, and we should invest time to write testing at the expense of time to market. Let's look at another example. Having a 5.9 uptime SLA for our system can be the golden crown, right? This is a great uptime, and having a system that supports it comply perfectly with engineering best practices, right? Again, maybe. A 5.9 architecture costs a lot of money, both in terms of engineering capacity, and cloud compute. It is a good investment if my customers really need it, but it might not always be the case. For example, a system that provides a batch processing data that arrives in a 24 hours delay might be okay with a small downtime and doesn't really need a 5-9 system. Another good example, if my contract is only saying that I'm obligated for a 4-9 uptime. What if we only rely on engineering best practices? In this case, we might put the company in a risk of being too late to the market. We can spend too much of the company's money on unnecessary infrastructure, not be innovative enough, and more. Whenever we prioritize a technical backlog, planning a new system, or deciding what's really important to fix ASAP after a production incident, we need to make sure that we calculate the business context with the engineering best practices. This is the only way to get the bigger picture and do educated decisions. What does the term business context mean? It usually means that what your product and system is used for. Not all products were born the same. And understanding what your product is used for by your specific customers at your specific phase of the company in your specific industry, this is what we call the business context. Okay, but how to gain the business context for my company? You can start by doing these 3 small steps. You can start with talking to your product manager. They love talking to engineers who are interested in the product and the business aspect of the system. Ask them for the business metrics that they are optimizing for, what are the goals for this year, what can bring more customers or prevent other customers from churn. The second step is to talk to other people outside of the engineering team. That can be support engineers, customer success managers, or marketing people. They can all share information about our customers, stories on why they bought the product, and what they would like to get in the future. And the third one is map your business to understand whether this is an early stage startup or an established company, the type of customers, whether you have an end user, small or large companies, the domain that your product is playing in, whether it's security, financial health, or anything else, and so on. This can give you a very good understanding of specific limitations and requirements in your company. As soon as you get the understanding of your business, you should translate it for engineering principles, like the level of quality needed, stability, data retention, and so on. There is no single right answer, as the company's status can change from time to time, and so is the engineering principles. In addition, even if you know what your customers need, even if you know that your customers need a high level of product quality, there is no one single number or metrics that explain what high level of quality even means. This is where your seniority and experience will come to play on everyday decisions. And if you are not sure, you should ask. By remembering to use this simple question, you can open an educated discussion when you are not sure. What does the business need for my team with quality, data retention, stability? By not assuming that you just need to implement the engineering best practices, you will make it your secret weapon and learn to have a more senior understanding of the situation and your tasks. By doing that, you can understand what's strategic for your company, how to push your team and yourself towards being more relevant there, and when things are less relevant and you should invest less. You can have more senior conversation with senior managers and people outside of the engineering organization and put yourself out there. And what if you don't? If you don't do it, you will leave a space for others who are doing it. Engineering leaders that don't know how to do it will stay in the engineering bubble without the ability to break the ceiling glass into more senior positions. Regardless whether you choose the technical path in your career, managerial path, or decide to found your own venture. If there is one thing that I would like you to remember from my session, is that you should look for the bigger picture and learn what your business needs from you, your team, and your system. I saw so many times really great engineers who don't even want to understand what the business needs from them. Don't be that engineer. Or as Jessica McCuller, the CTO and co-founder of Pilot, said in a really nice podcast, so beautifully, R&D teams don't exist because it is fun to write code and build things. They exist in the service of delivering on business metrics. Thank you very much. You're welcome to contact me in my email or LinkedIn.